drives emotions? Like, where do emotions come from, and why do we have emotions? Like, where does it all how does it all come into play, right? Have you ever wondered that? It's just like, well, why is it that there's some times when you can just coast through life normal and you're fine, and then all of a sudden you just have spurts of emotions, whether that be good, bad, positive, or negative, right? Ever wonder that? Hi, I'm Jacqueline, and welcome. We at Joyful Living Mindset are so excited that you're here because we believe that you have a great gift within you that's going to uplift humanity in some significant way, and we're here to help you navigate that journey and live your truth. So let's just spend a moment and really understand, right? The last episode that we had, we talked about the power of emotions, right? And how deciphering your emotions can actually guide you and help you to make better decisions in life. But the real question comes into play is that, well, where does emotions come from to begin with? And here's how I understand it, right? And this is just, think of it as your emotions is part of a reaction that you have to an event, or when I say an event or a circumstance or something happens, right? Your emotions comes up and as a reaction to the event. And that reaction comes from actually the meaning that you are actually giving that experience, right? It's like, for instance, you are when I say the meaning that you're giving the experience, it's like your brain is constantly trying to help you understand your external environment to assess whether you're safe or not, right? So that whether that be, you need to evoke the fight or flight response. And so it's constantly trying to assign meaning and logic to whatever is happening so that you can understand it more and make sense of it as you navigate through life. And oftentimes, the meaning that we give the experience is often through the lens of our beliefs, of what is it that we believe about ourselves, what is it that we believe about other people, what is it that we believe about life in general. And so when something happens, we immediately create a meaning to make sense of the event or the circumstance, and it comes in the form of a thought, right? And it's being driven by a belief that we have about something, and so that belief is, think of it as a programming that goes on in our subconscious mind in the background that we're not even aware of, and all of our thoughts and feelings and decisions that we make is through those lens, right? It's being driven by the lens of our belief system. And so when something happens, our belief system, our programming, right, it's running in the background, and then immediately it gives us access to certain thoughts to try to make sense of what's going on. And then based on those thoughts, it's going to evoke an emotion within us, right? And those thoughts then tie to kind of like our nervous system and evoke an emotion within us to help us kind of again make sense of it, but more like just internalize that thought even more, kind of materialize that thought into reality. And then that oftentimes what happens is then based on how we feel, it's going to affect how we are going to act and decide and move forward from there, right? And so that's really kind of like at a very basic level of what's driving emotions. And if you really want to, there's a big term these days called regulating your emotions and managing your emotions. If you really want to know how to regulate your emotions and manage your emotions, and also the term of having a healthy or positive mindset, right? And that's a huge concept out there these days in the personal development world. And what it all boils down to is understanding your belief system. And what is it that you believe about yourself? What is it that you believe about other people? What is it that you believe about life in general? And how is it that you're interacting with the world around you? And oftentimes you look at that, and it's a commitment and a journey to really look at, hey, when someone, let's say for instance, when someone gives you a feedback, right, a constructive feedback, and or does something, and it triggers you, like for instance, your spouse, right, or your partner, when he or she does something and or says something, and it just immediately triggers you, right? So you really have to stop and think about, okay, what is it that you believe about yourself that, again, your emotions is your emotional guidance system, right? Because it immediately triggers that belief system about yourself that's going on, and you have access to thoughts based through the lens of that belief system, right? And so now you're reacting to his or her actions or what they said or did and whatnot, and based on what is it that you believe about yourself or about other people, about the world and whatnot. And so you have to stop and think, okay, wow, it's like fast, like, and it's almost instantaneous as well, right? Wow, all of a sudden he or she said something, and now all of a sudden I am like angry, or I am pissed off, or I am sad, right? And so that gap between what they said and what they did, between what you're feeling, may seem very instantaneous. But again, I talked about in the last episode about creating the space for it. And then you look at it, it's like, hey, wait a second. What is it that, how is it that what he or she says is triggering something within me to cause me to think something such that it's driving this strong emotion, evoking this strong emotion within me, right? So, like, what is it that he or she did or said, right? What's the underlying belief that I have around that it's causing me to interact with him or her through that lens that is driving this negative emotion, right? Because again, the worse you feel, the more out of alignment you are with the true nature of things, and the more you're deviating from what is it that you're actually wanting to create an experience, right? And so then you know that whatever it is that you are thinking and doing in response to the other person's actions or behaviors is not true, right? So for instance, one of the things that with my husband that I often get triggered by is if I say something and he either doesn't acknowledge me or just kind of dismisses, or not dismiss, but he just kind of disagrees with it and just goes a different way. And that triggers me, because my old belief system is that I believed that my thoughts don't matter, and that people are always invalidating and dismissing me, right? Just from growing up with all brothers and being the only girl in the family, and especially in an Asian household, where my thoughts, my voice, and whatever it is that I want and my needs none of that matters. I'm always constantly being dismissed and invalidated. And so when I say something or I call him, he doesn't answer, or if I tell him something and he doesn't agree with it, and he kind of puts in a counter argument about it, I'm immediately triggered by that, right? And so I have to, till this day, like it's a constant work in progress. Till this day, I have to catch myself and say, oh, wait a second, I'm being triggered again. This is negative emotions. Again, what I shared in the last episode, right? Just creating that space for you to be aware of your emotions and the power of and the wisdom in what your emotional guidance is telling you. And I was aware that I'm being triggered because of these strong emotions that are coming up inside of me, and that I'm also aware that it is negative emotions, meaning that whatever it is that I'm thinking or doing is out of alignment and is not the true nature of reality, and that is moving me further and further away from what is it that I want. And so that means that if what he said, what my husband said, is triggering me to believe that I don't matter, my thoughts, my voice doesn't matter, that he's dismissing me and invalidating me, that means that it can't be further from the truth, right? And so I'm like, okay, so if that's not true, then what must be true then, right? What must be true is that maybe he just has a different point of view, and that maybe neither one of our viewpoints are right or wrong. Maybe there is no right or wrong, but that we could still coexist in a world and in a relationship where two people may have two different viewpoints, and that that's still okay. And that even if my husband has a different viewpoint, he still cares and loves me and adores me very much, right? And so as I'm kind of creating that space to explore what could be true, and replacing my old limiting beliefs and just reminding myself of what could be true, I'm gradually moving myself closer and closer back into alignment with the true nature of reality. And I can tell that because as I am exploring these new truths of what could be true instead, I start to the anger, the frustration, the sadness starts to reside, and then I start to feel kind of like at peace again, because that's when you know you're moving in the right direction, right? You're moving in the right direction. I start to feel at peace again, and then I start to feel hopeful, and I start to feel appreciation, and that I restore back into being loving towards my husband again, and appreciating his differing points of view. And so that's really what is driving your emotions. It's really the underlying programming of your belief system that is constantly running in the background, and you just have to be aware of that and just really commit to creating the space to explore. Hey, I'm getting triggered. What could this be about? What is the meaning that I'm giving that experience? And what could all this be about? And could there be some other version of reality and truths that I could entertain that could make me feel better about that situation, right? And what I've also learned with our emotional guidance system is that the magnitude to which we feel discomfort and getting triggered and feeling the negative emotion about something is the magnitude to which whatever it is that we are thinking and believing and in that moment couldn't be further from the truth and the true nature of reality. So the magnitude of the discomfort in our emotions, like the level of how strong the negative emotions is within us, that's evoking within us, is the magnitude to which whatever it is that we're thinking and believing is so way further from the true nature of reality. And so that's why our emotions is such a beautiful and powerful gift for us to really understand and take time to understand, like I said, to develop a relationship with yourself so that you could understand your emotions more, not suppress it, not ignore it, and not shame it, judge it, criticize it, because it's such a beautiful and powerful gift for us to really understand, so that not only does it help us to make better and more aligned decisions, but it helps us to also slowly replace our belief system, and that's how we adopt a healthier and more positive mindset, because now we're viewing and interacting with life and other people through a whole new different lens, and it helps. Is evident in how we show up, is evident in how we are interacting with other people and the quality of our relationships, therefore, because we don't get triggered as much or as often, or even if we do get triggered, we bounce right back to the true nature of reality. We bounce right back to moving from negative emotion and moving us back to peace and love, joy, and all the positive emotions that we ultimately always want to be in. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about this topic, and anything else that I can further support you on or clarify for you around this topic of what drives your emotion and how to navigate through it, and how to help you to slowly shift your belief system and change the lens through which you view and interact with the world around you. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.